Today we'll talk about the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum and Solana. My ladies and gentlemen, there are less than 24 hours left until the next big movements in the crypto market. Will Bitcoin's price be able to go up towards $80,000, and will there then be another correction of the crypto market? Or will this crypto market correction happen in the coming days? Let's start with the Bitcoin rate. We'll discuss economic events that will greatly impact the entire crypto market in the near future. Let's look at the situation with the Bitcoin exchange rate. It dropped to $60,000, then rose, and now it's approximately right here. What did we discuss with you in our previous videos? We discussed that if an escalation were to occur between Iran and the United States, we would then see a correction. The whole question is what kind of correction it will be, meaning will it be a significant correction or not a very strong one? We also discussed that the last support level for us here ends at $55,000 to $56,000. The next support will be right here. This escalation hasn't happened yet, but it could. Please keep that in mind. They might still reach an agreement, and in case they do agree, then most likely we will see the rate consolidate. What should happen tomorrow? Look, we discussed in the previous video that when unemployment data is released, it would be volatile. Yesterday it came out. It was volatile, but not extremely volatile. But the rate started moving. Unemployment data fell. This is good for the economy, but it's not good for the Fed because the Fed will now most likely lower the interest rate only in summer. Next, we'll be looking at inflation data. They're coming out tomorrow, Friday, February 13th. The market expects inflation to have fallen by 2.5. If inflation falls, that will be a positive development, but if inflation rises, it will be negatively received by the market, meaning the crypto market will then drop. If the result turns out to be higher than 2.7, 2.8, or for instance 2.9, it will be seen as quite negative. Look, on Monday we might not see any movement in the crypto market. American markets are closed, Chinese markets are closed. As I told you, most likely the Fed will start lowering interest rates closer to summer, but we'll see what happens with inflation because the next meeting is only in March. Also important are the quarterly results of American companies. They will be on the 25th and 26th of February. It will be volatile on those days. We discussed with you in our previous videos that we have support lines here between $70,000 and $55,000. So at $55,000 that support line ends, and the next support line will be at $45,000 and $40,000. Then come the 30 and the 20. These zones will be necessary for you if there truly is an escalation between the United States and Iran. Remember these zones, you will see them again should this escalation actually occur. Now, in the event that the inflation data turns out to be favorable, meaning the currency rate will climb, we have a resistance line situated here at 75,082. So from this particular zone, there will still be a high probability of a correction. If we consider the long-term perspective and assume that Iran and the United States can indeed reach an agreement, I sincerely hope that they succeed in this and that there will be no escalation, then most likely we will see a consolidation of the rate occurring here. And once price successfully breaks through this blue line, it will be quite reasonable to assume that a trend reversal is occurring, indicating that the crypto market will then begin to rise. We need a change in the trend. Right now, it's quite risky, for instance, to enter into long positions because the trend is still moving downwards. The same situation applies to all altcoins. The trend remains downward for now. So as soon as Bitcoin's price begins to break through this blue line, those will be potential entry points for long positions. Or these are horizontal support zones, meaning from these support zones, a new trend might begin. So the purple line will go like this, and that will be our new trend. Therefore, be careful, tomorrow will be volatile, and as I told you, everything depends on inflation. What's happening with Ethereum's price? In our previous videos, we discussed that if an escalation were to occur between Iran and the United States, then these zones would prove useful to you because these are Ethereum support zones. So how they work, I'll briefly recap. If the price of Bitcoin drops by $50,000, then Ethereum will be approximately here, 1,246, and so on, either down or up. So this is how far Ethereum got when Bitcoin hit $60,000, 1,750 got. Now, what else is important? In case the inflation data turns out good, meaning inflation has fallen and we see growth happening tomorrow, then right here, a resistance line begins at 2,328 and it extends today approximately up to 2,700. So from this particular zone, there is a high probability of a market correction. Most likely, we'll see the price consolidate right here. Bitcoin will do the same and everything will then depend on Iran and the USA. And as soon as Ethereum breaks this blue line in the future, that's around March, early March, then possibly a new uptrend will begin, meaning growth. And then it will be possible, let's say, to open a long position more safely. What is happening with the price of Solana? Solana, as you can see, has also experienced a very significant drop, and in our previous videos we had discussed with you that these specific zones would be crucial for us in the event that Bitcoin's price experiences yet another correction due to any potential escalation. So how does this work? If Bitcoin's price reaches $55,000, Solana will go to about 57. If Bitcoin's price drops to $45,000, then Solana will be around here, $40 and so on. This zone is at $34. No, why I'm right. At the moment, the rate is kind of consolidating. These red lines, they are the resistance lines. So if there's growth because of inflation, and if inflation has fallen, then the resistance line is roughly at $100 and goes up to 115. So from this particular zone, there will still be a high probability of a correction. If, of course, inflation has risen, then we'll see a correction, and then you'll need to orient yourselves by these green lines. But due to inflation, there won't be such a strong correction. If there's a big correction, it will happen because of Iran and the US. So I repeat, inflation data is important. It comes out tomorrow, and negotiations between the US and Iran are important. That is, they must reach a peaceful agreement. If they can't manage to do this, there is a high probability the market could go into another correction, and then it's worth taking advantage of it. I wish you a good evening, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.